back to sleep. I was just, are we dressed alike again?
Oh, yes. I got on blue. Does it look black?
It looks black. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Consider it black. No,
Okay.
yeah, it's navy blue.
Yeah, but I could not wake up. It was just like, and and all the other stuff that I do to be health conscious, the main thing ought to be sleep, right?
Yes, I said that to myself. What was it? The night before last, I said, I got to get in this bed. I felt guilty because I wanted to lay down and there was so much work to do. And one of my prayers is to be able to, after I talk to 7 people or 6 people in a row, by 8 o'clock, I'm just kind of tapped out, right? But I want to stay up because I'd like to do another 30 minutes or an hour on a curriculum or in the book or something, right? But I just don't have and then that's when I told myself, but I need to sleep because sleep, if we don't get sleep, you keep weight, your body retains weight. And so what's the point in, going to sleep at 11 o'clock at night, getting up at 4 o'clock to go to the gym if I'm not getting adequate sleep?
Right.
So I just make myself get in that bed at 9:30.
So we are both having the same conversation, except for like, there's a part of me that thinks, oh, as long as I'm in bed, say for instance, I say I'm in bed at 9:30, but I'm nowhere near about to go to sleep.
Oh yeah, I fall right off to sleep.
Because wait a minute, I got a bad thing about scrolling through my little list of books that I got on my phone. And last night I started listening to Ruth's daughter's book that she narrated or that she's on.
Okay.
And so it's like the chapters in that book are not like, they're like smaller chapters. So
okay.
4 or 5. And so then when I say stop at 15 minutes, when the 15 minutes is up, I'm not falling asleep. And so now it's like, okay, another 15 minutes. It's insane. I know. I do some crazy stuff. But that's part of part of my little crazy narrative that I'm I don't know. So, but I have to get more sleep. I took a nap yesterday.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, but the other thing is sometimes you take one of these little, it's a short nap. It's a 15-20 minute nap. But even that, feeling guilty about that, like, oh, I should, But yeah.
Should not be shouldn't on yourself.
I shouldn't be shouldn't on myself. So
no, you get to take a nap. I think that's luxury. I think that's arrival.
I got a girlfriend. It was one of my prayer partners, and we would talk about I think she's still working, whatever. She's fabulous, looks fabulous, is fabulous, all of that stuff. But part of her thing is she is so like, she's a Scorpio, so she's so not concerned with what other people think about her, right? So she's like, I ain't come to this job to be friends with people. She was like, I came here to work. So when it's lunchtime for me, she was like, I go out to my car, I cut on my car, and I go to sleep. And she nibbles on whatever she's gonna nibble on, and then she goes back, because she's just like saying, I ain't trying to sit up and jaw jack with nobody or be, that is just not how she does it. So, and that's hard to do a lot of places because people take it personal when you don't want to sit down and break bread with them. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning, Erica.
Yeah. So
what in the world? Okay.
You said what?
I just said, okay.
Erica said work is work.
I know. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not getting ready to worry about people being offended because I'm not having lunch with them. I'm like, where are they doing this at? This sounds like high school.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
but
Maple Heights High. Oh,
anyway, yes, yes, yes. It's Friday.
it is. I have a 5:30 therapy session that I do on Thursday mornings in the morning. But
Uh-huh.
we did it this morning and I said, she said, oh, it's almost Friday. I said, girl, it is Friday right now.
Uh,
Don't be setting us back. No, no, no. She almost forgot because we typically meet on Thursday mornings at 5:30.
uh-huh.
I'm like, no, today is Friday. Like right
Okay.
now it is. Yes.
So you didn't go outside to work out today, huh? You didn't go
Mm-mm,
out anyplace. Okay.
mm-mm. No, no. I have the privilege of being able to work out right here, like hard.
Okay.
So it's nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna go out, but it was icy and stuff, and I had
Mm,
already planned to work out at home.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I didn't even take the dog downstairs today.
You
So
did it.
I let her out on the porch. And so I still I'll go later and check what it's like outside. But yeah, it looked icy when I
Does
looked.
she have like a little grassy porch thingy, like a little one of those animal grass pad things on your porch?
Mm, mm. Girl, no, I am not that sophisticated. I just call myself washing it off. I wash it off when when the weather when it
Weather
weather
breaks.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So I do the same thing at Alan's place now. He's got a porch now. So when we go over there, I'm like, I'm not going all the way. Yeah, you figure it out. And his is concrete. So it's like you figure it out. Going out there. I'm standing there with the pitcher of water. Going down there. Whatever. I'm sure that the people down up under him won't like that though when summertime hits.
Why? Because it does it go down onto their porch?
Well, it'll go past their porch. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people over there in that complex that seem to keep their dogs outside or keep them, put them out there on
Uh-huh. Why not?
the porch. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, any thoughts, any revelations that came to you over
Last night, our conversation. No, actually, I worked with that thought all day yesterday. The transparency.
mm-hmm.
Um, that was so good to me. Um, I worked with that all day in myself. That yeah, and the ghosts. I'm already familiar with my ghosts that are hanging out. Some
Mm.
new ones can come, but I already know the ones that are busy in themselves in my world right now.
I think that there is the question, I would like that if I were I wouldn't like that if I were underneath Alan. Good morning, Ruth.
Morning, Ruth.
Well, so the question is to Erica, because you stay on the bottom floor. Do you always know what it is that's coming down when it's coming down? Could it be somebody watering a plant, or could it be, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know what people's awareness is. So, yeah, but she stays on the ground floor. I like that hat, by the way, Erica. I love that hat. That's in the picture. It's funny because whenever I'm looking for hats, I never find one quite big enough for my head, and I don't think my head is that big. So But I like the hat she's wearing. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so yesterday, I kind of thought about, as I was thinking about my ghost, and even though I recognize that they are there, the question is, can I, or do I want to bypass them, or have I perceived it as for my safety and my highest good? Do I want to honor and respect it and say, kind of, I often think about that. Is it Billie Holiday's song when she says, "Good morning, heartache, what's new?"
Mhm.
That thing of, come on, sit on down. It's time for us to have our coffee, our usual stuff. We get up. And so do we see things that are in the past, or are we looking at them, you know, through the
Oh yeah.
our own lens, so for me, that's kind of like the question. Hey, Winnie. Yes, thank God it's Friday. She said,
Yes.
the TGIF. But yeah, so the question is like, you know, do I just, now that I have an awareness of the things that are influencing me, my ghost, and saying, yeah, no, not that one. Is there a override button that I want to push, or is there going to be that, see, I told you so, you know?
Oh, okay. So my ghosts are so empowering and encouraging, and um I've done a lot of rituals with my grandmother and my great grandmother to try to get free from some of our generational patterns, relational patterns, limiting beliefs. So I feel like I'm doing work with them. Like a lot of my writing is about the work that I'm doing to untangle myself from the belief systems and patterns that are so automatic in my family that I am aware of, you know. And so when I'm doing business with my grandmothers and great grandmother, with my grandmothers and my great grandmothers, it's four of them, and then my spirit guide, when I'm doing work with them, it is really to just like pull forth the strength that I understand back in their time that they were either not given permission to step into, they didn't know they could step into it. They were just, especially as I'm reading this book now, going on the third round on this book, just understanding that there was some stuff that information they didn't get. And so I feel like I'm channeling the yes part of them, as opposed to the part of them that was mistreated or mishandled. And that part,
So my grandmother on my, which was it? It's my grandmother. No, it's my great grandmother, right? She walked into my meditation the other day.
mm,
Um, and I got the feeling from her energy with, you know, these people they don't keep you down, hold you back. It's kind of like this, yeah, that's a non-entity. But my grandmother, that it has been felt that had her husband shown up in her life, and this is her daughter, right? So that's my great grandmother, like, these men ain't, um, but it's been felt or believed that had her husband been showing up in her life like he should have, she wouldn't have died so early. Right. So there's that I'm protecting. You're right. So I'm really
That's good. That's your grandmother you talking about, not your great grandmother.
Right. This is my grandmother
Okay.
who was killed in
Car, hit by a
yes,
car or
right.
something. Mhm.
Yeah, she was killed in that in a car accident. Because she was, you know, that's a whole convoluted mess right there. But there has been that feeling that had her husband been taken care of, or had he been there, she would never had that happen, right? And having small kids in the house. But now her mother, so this is my great grandmother. My great grandmother had a philandering husband as well, but he died early. It was, he was the one that died, and she was the one that went on to live 25, 30 years past him. So her energy is, you know, it seems like, you know, we just got to make it do what it do, you know.
That's interesting that her daughter would marry her father.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those are the patterns I'm talking about right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And see, yeah, and if I was to marry my father was an amazing man. But he, like I said, he was one that was adamant that he would never treat his wife like his father treated his. And that's where I get to some of that. I recognize that what happened to my mother happened because of the kind of man that my dad was.
Mhm.
But all his sons were not like that. Some of his sons were also,
For
you know,
him.
philandering guys. But my dad was I think he was the oldest son. Yeah, he was the oldest son, and he was like, yeah, no, I would never do that to my family. So
Mhm.
so that kind of stuff informs,
Everything.
yeah,
Mhm.
it informs me. So my question is not sitting up saying, not negating their message, but being very much able to hear it, to and to acknowledge it, and to recognize that if that is part of that ghosting that is being done to me, to be grateful for the messages, and then to see what they mean in my life, and to
Mhm.
figure out, like he is saying in here, once I unearth these images, now
Yeah.
what do I do with them, now that I'm getting clear? And so that's why I'm still trying to get clear on my mother's side of the family,
Yeah. Yeah.
because all of that is informing. Mhm.
Oh, it's 50%, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
not more, because it's your mom. But yeah, like, oh. And when we're ready, we get it all. It's not hidden. It's just like when we're ready, it's just kind of like, okay, now this, now this, now this, now this.
Mm.
I think it's phenomenal that I'm doing this while I'm home in Ohio. I just think this is mind blowing for me that I am home doing this work.
Yeah, and you know, and some of it too, you know, I recognize some of it too is the abandonment issues. You know, there's I mean, there's a lot to unpack, right? As because we've got really how many sets of grandparents and
And
parents.
their stuff.
Yes, all of this stuff. And all of it is valid. All of it is, you know, something that I want to be able to receive and to hold until it is not necessary anymore.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Yep. So anyway, gotta open up the message. Yeah. Gotta open up the message. You know, and I'm wondering, you know, kind of what that means, Winnie. Got to open up the message. I can read into that, but I'm wondering what you mean by it. Winnie's mom, although as in her later years, I didn't stay around, because Winnie and I were close when we were in high school, but her mother was such they stayed in Shaker before there was like a lot of Black people in Shaker, so they were always there. And her mother was a teacher, and her mother was one of those no nonsense kind of like forces of nature. And so it makes me wonder about her grandparents. We get messages and signs, and we're not willing or ready. Yes, to yeah, we're not willing or ready, right? And so so when I think about, so my mother was I reckon that my mother was a force. I always talked about my mother. My mother was an Aries, and my mother was a force to be reckoned with. She was like a ram that if it didn't open, she was going to push it, right? She was never one to to play small or to back up. She was just, she was that kind of woman. Um, and Winnie's mother was was bold and feisty in a very different way. Like she was, she was a teacher. She owned herself and her space in a kind of way that was just, and to think about, actually, when I start thinking about the women who have made an impression on my life, especially when I was younger, right? To think about them and how they showed up in the world. I didn't see women that were victims, right? I didn't have um I could talk about what happened to my grandmother, but she was, so part of the thing was is that she had, and this was back in the 40s, 50s, she had gone out and got herself a job, because she got herself a job working for some white folks, and because she needed to get some extra stuff, because she didn't want to be dependent on her husband. She didn't want to be totally dependent, so she went out and got a job. And so one night when she was coming home at night, late at night, on one of those dark roads, that's how she was killed. And so I'm not even saying that she was totally a victim. However, it is seen that had he been doing what he was supposed to be doing, this wouldn't have happened. So there is this thing of not really knowing women that were, that were shrinking back from life, but rather this, I mean, it's like Black women are, right? This,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who we show up in the world.
Right.
We show up in that kind of way. And in spite of what, because a lot of times what we see is, especially in some of these religious institutions, sometimes people are busy telling you what you should and shouldn't do, right?
Yes. The
Shouldn't do
rules.
all the time. Yes, yes. And so and so when you think about it, we have been that term of gaslighting. We have had people try to tell us that what is ain't and what ain't is
Yes.
for
Mm-hmm.
way too long, right?
Yes.
And trying to play mind games to the point at which they try to get us to not trust our inner knower or our inner self. And so one of the things we do is we just kind of think, okay, we laugh at it and then keep on doing what we're doing because we got business to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I when I think about the people who I've really gravitated towards, most of them have been people who show up like that. I didn't, yeah, I mean, and I'm just thinking about that. I'm just sitting with that. So thank you. I think that's one of those great things maybe that we all could do, is really think about the women who have floated in and out of our lives since we were kids, and what the messages that we received around them were. Um, Go ahead. Did you have something on that? Because I was thinking about something I might want to share.
No, I'm in agreement, and
Ah,
I do think it's really cool for us to pay attention to the messages. And that's why I think meditation is so important too, because you'll get the downloads that, oh my goodness, you'll remember when this information came to you 5 years ago, and now you're ready for it, and you see it from a whole different place, or that's what that meant, but
mm,
that's what that was for.
um, I guess a couple of things that I want to touch on. I just got this prompting that to open up this book, and I don't want to read a whole lot, but there was a couple of things in Marianne Williamson's book, A Woman's Worth, that just kind of came to me then. This is the book, A Woman's Worth by Marianne Williamson. And here, one of the things that I had marked off, I don't know, sometimes I mark these things off and I don't know when I marked them off or why. She says, we can't look to the world to restore our worth. We're here to restore our worth to the world. The world outside us can reflect our glory, but it cannot create it. It cannot crown us. Only God can crown us, and he already has. And so sometimes we forget about that whole thing, that we've already got the crown. There was a story in here about, and I guess I don't necessarily need this book to tell the story about this woman, but Marianne had this woman who lived across the street from her when she was growing up. And the woman, I guess, during the time that Marianne knew her, had appeared to be single. And she talked about how this woman came across to her, and just how, with her boldness and her glory, and was just really like this, this just yeah, this wonderful energy. But Marianne at the same time talked about that she watched the woman as she grew older. And so what used to be beautiful, her swinging around in her, her gowns and her with a martini in her hand, seeming all elegant and beautiful, after a while, it looked sad. After, way down the line, it just looked sad. And so she was talking about how sometimes what the same things when we are younger makes us light and free, if it goes on for too long. That's just like famous Amos said, you can be on the right track, but if you stay there too long, you're bound to get run over. So not allowing herself to be transformed through her experience, but rather, didn't see that, didn't prepare for that other person. I told you about that time I was sitting in the tire place, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to some older Black man, and he, as he talked to me, he finally said to me, he says, you're really beautiful now. And I was like, oh, thank you. He said, but there's an old woman coming to your house. He said, you better be ready for her. And I was like, okay. 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 Yeah, I'm laughing. I still laugh at that. I think about that man often. So, all right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting that everybody always got something to say, and that how it lands on us, all of that is interesting. This guy
You're
told
always entertaining angels.
this guy told me one time out in front of my house, he was like, he said something to me about I was gonna get old. He was like that. He said, you ain't gonna look like this or be like this forever. And I said, well, how do you know? And he he kind of looks around like, how the hell do you know? I was like, you don't know me, you don't know the future. All you got is as evidence is what? Those folks? Don't be
Hating.
yeah, tripping on me. Because you can.
Oh, yes. It's all a mindset.
Yes, and who was it? Somebody asked the question, who said we have to do all of this stuff? Who said that? Who said that? Who told you that? Right?
Yes. Who told you you were naked? Right. Is that your belief? Or are you sharing some stuff with me that you got from somebody else?
Right. And believing it makes it so. And so yeah, I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. And we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. Grannies, this is good. I ain't even calling y'all grannies because y'all ain't grannies. All right, so here we are. We are back here. Let's see where are we? Did we even get out of this paragraph?
Nope. No. Did you? I don't. Well, we talked about the active imagination. Did you talk about that?
I don't
feel like we did. I don't feel like we did. This is a good subject too.
Where is that?
The notion of the healing power of images was vivid.
Wait a minute, because you fall out when you turn your head to read. Where is it?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The notion is the third paragraph on page 49.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, we didn't get to that paragraph. Okay, so I found helping people unearth the images that most resonates with them. Okay, so the notion of the healing power of images is valid long before the brain scans could prove it, right? So, so more than 100 years ago, the poet William Butler Yeats wrote, "The wisdom first speaks through images." And that if we just allow ourselves to be guided by the images that lives inside of us, our souls will become simple as flame and our bodies will become quiet as an agape lamp. So wait a minute, let me talk about that for a minute, because one of the things that, remember how when we first started doing this, we talked about intuition. And we talked about all the ways that intuition speaks to us, whether we hear it verbally, whether we see letters or writings or words, whether we feel it in our bodies as a sense of knowingness. And sometimes we also receive pictures. And a lot of times when I say, oh, something is coming to me, it's because I've either, like when I picked up that book, A Woman's Worth, I saw the flash of the book in my mind, right? When I talk to people, I have actually talked to somebody and seen a bull. Like I can sit and have a conversation with somebody, and a bull scratching at the ground may come into my perspective, which tells me that not only is this person not going to be moved, it is liable that they might charge me at some point, right? So I think that when we are able to pay attention to and all of our images are going to be different, right?
Right.
You might see butterflies or you might smell honeysuckle, and they have a different meaning for you
Everyone's
than
right.
it would for me. There was a movie about those dragonflies. Remember the dragonfly movie? There was a movie about these dragonflies that kept appearing, and the dragonfly was, what he found out was, once he followed the dragonflies, that it was his wife trying to say, hey, they told you I was dead, but I'm not really. Come and find me. So I don't know what your images are, right? If you saw a mouse nowadays, right? Because you had the thing where you were seeing these mice all the time, and then we looked up the mouse and we got a significance of what the mouse is. When that comes up to you, for you, around people or in conversations, even if it's just a glimpse of it, you can say, oh, I know what that means.
So deers have a meaning for me as new, fresh, new ideas. Whenever I see a deer, that's what it means to me. So I was in a conversation with someone and I was driving down the street, city street, and I saw two deers, and instantly it was like for me to talk about a fresh new idea. I just switched the subject instantly because the subject was the subject that I wasn't interested in, that was being dialogued about or whatever. And so when I saw that, it instantly reminded me, let me share something, a fresh new idea or perspective on it. So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so I, you know, for all of us, just paying attention to and asking the question, when you see something or when something appears in your dream, what is this about, right? If a snake shows up in your dream, usually we think we have a perception of what that a snake is, because we've got certain images of the snake, but also snakes have the ability to shed their own skin. So
Yeah, it's new beginnings. It can be
yeah,
healing, but
yep,
yeah.
yep. Could it be something different, right? And so just being open to that, being open to, and the images might not be animals, it could be words, or it could be any number of things. But if wisdom speaks first through images, and we are in the business of disregarding the images that we see because we haven't brought meaning to them, maybe this is something that says to us to pay attention, to
Mhm.
pay attention to what's going on. If
Yeah.
if you see, if you see an expanse of land, what does that mean for you? Is it just the prayer of Jabez that you hear, like, or is it something more, right? And so that means to ask yourself the questions. If you see the red Mississippi clay or red Mississippi dirt, what does that mean? If you, I mean, there's so many different things that we can sit in the energy of an image and ask it what it's saying to us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's an amazing practice, and it 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 I think that it causes our brains to fire from a different place when we engage in that type of um conversation or just thought process. You don't have to talk about everything that you do, but allowing yourself to ask those questions are just, it's magical.
Yeah, and I'm like all about, we are all about entrusting the intuitive hits that come up for you.
Mhm.
Because they are, I mean, they are yours. It's not something that somebody else can interpret or bring meaning to, because they're yours.
Mhm.
But being able to pay attention to them and sit with them is an amazing, amazing inquiry. I'll say it like that. As quiet as an agape lamp. In 1913, Carl Jung termed the phrase active imagination, a technique that uses images, often from a dream, to enter into a dialogue with the unconscious mind, bringing to light what has been shrouded in darkness. Recently, the idea of visualization for healing has gained widespread traction with guided imagery programs readily available to lower stress, reduce anxiety, boost athletic performance, and to help with specific fears and phobias. So, active imagination as a technique. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Guided imagery is, it's a modality, and it does work because it's rewiring and refiring the neurons of the brain. It's rebuilding them, and it's changing a narrative. People can change a narrative. I was going to say something when you said earlier that when we create new meaning, then we create a new script for ourselves, and literally the script can change just like that. um I feel like, I think I've said this before, I feel like I spend a lot of my time giving permission for people to do life different. Like, you can step out of this paradigm into a new one today, and know, just like an addict, and know that your old self or your old energy is going to be pulling you back because it's familiar. But if it's uncomfortable, then giving people permission to stay the course of your new paradigm, stay the course of the new image that you see of yourself, the new way you see yourself in the mirror, the new way you envision the next part of this journey to be. Um, and I think guided imagery is good because it works on the internal self, right? It starts to do the work on the internal self, and once the internal self or light or ignite light is lit, um, it's just magical. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I came into this last year saying, I don't have intuition. I want my intuition to be different. I don't know how to follow it. I don't know how to hear it. I lost it, That was just 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But just, yeah.
So Marianne Williamson starts off her talks in the very same way. She'll say, "See in your mind a little golden light," and then she'll say, "And that light gets larger and larger until it covers the total something of your mind, right? See in," and then she says, "See in your mind a temple, and then there's a body of water that surrounds the temple, and such and such on that temple." And then she goes through this thing and she says, "We have come to this space something something like to in the presence of God, or to honor God, or whatever, but she goes through this whole guided imagery of how it goes. I can't recall it now because it was her imagery that she was setting up.
Mhm.
And even when I saw it in, I would let that light grow larger and larger until it encompassed the whole total inner frame of my vision, right? And then she talked about the temple. And so I thought to myself, what does a temple look like for me? And instead of me seeing the a temple, I don't know what a temple is like a castle or
Right.
like a temple in India or a temple here. I started seeing my body.
Body. Yeah.
So, and then there was the golden light inside of my body. And
Mhm.
so I'm sitting in this thing and I'm seeing my temple as myself, my body. And so it became my imagery. It's not, yeah, it's her guidance, but I started seeing it through the prism of my own mind.
Yeah. And that's the way I do guided imagery too, is that because you want that person to have their own experience in that. So when we're on the beach, you're on the beach, your beach, the beach that you imagine. If you've never been to one, if you've been to one, and go to your favorite one and your basket, and take the moment to see your basket, what it looks like, what it feels like, where'd you get it from? Think about the memory of the basket. Like, it's your stuff. It's because it's our work to do.
Right,
It
right.
is ours to do. So that's good, because it should be an image. You are that temple.
Right. And so even like when I do the imagery of standing beside a stream and I look down and I see my feet in the grass and I'm grounded and I'm rooted by this water, I'm not seeing Stephanie's feet. I don't even know what Stephanie's feet look like. I do see my own feet and I know what my own feet look like. And it's only through it being my own feet and feeling the pressure of not only my weight
That's
touching the
right.
ground, but the weight of the earth holding and supporting me there. So it becomes my stuff.
Right.
And so through all of this, it is, and then as I step closer to the water, as my feet come closer and closer to the water, just being able to see it and to feel it and to be present in it, whether it's the smells or the sights or the support or the sounds that I may hear, it's mine. And so each of us has to figure out what's ours, right? Even if I say, imagine yourself laying in your bed, it's your bed. It's not my bed. I don't know if you got a big fluffy comforter and a bunch of pillows, or if your bed is sparse and you don't like anything but a sheet on there, or I don't know if your bed feels scratchy or if it feels welcoming, or if you got a whole bunch of junk in your bed. I don't know these things. If you got somebody in your bed that makes your bed feel unwelcoming or like you got to sleep on the edge, I don't know. It's your bed. So, and does your bed, is your place a bed, a self place of refuge and comfort, or is it, because before I used to let my little dog sleep on my bed, you know, but because she can't hear, she's got a thing of always pressing up against me so that she'll know when I move, because she can't
Okay.
hear me. And so it got to the point where I was like saying, I don't want that pressure on me. I'm sleeping. I don't want to every time I move, she moves, because she's scared that I might get up and she not know it. So now, no, don't get off of my bed, because my bed is mine. Go find your own. So yeah. So, but one of the things they do is they tell athletes in visualizations to see yourself making the hoop, or see yourself making it over the vault. Get it in your mind, fix it in your mind. And I know a lot of people who have done visualization, and they've done visualization for a lot of things, and some things came really true. But in fact, when they visualize stuff, calling it forth, because that's one of the things, big things that Neville Goddard does, is he talks about visualizing. Yeah, but also visualization could be limiting too, because sometimes what we don't realize is that bigger than and better, that what you ever visualized is possible, right?
Mhm.
We visualize ourselves in Paris, but in Paris with somebody that we actually want to be in Paris with, or we visualize ourselves, you know, on the freeway of love in my pink Cadillac, right? But who's to say that that's actually what you want, right? You think that that's what you want because that's the, riding Route 66 is what we've heard, but
Mhm.
you would be better served with something else. I don't know.
Or for someone.
Yep, all of that, all of that. And so, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And so, yeah, I always, I always at the end of my prayer saying, like you say, surprise and delight me. I'm like above and beyond, above what I can ever hope for and imagine, because I just
Absolutely.
trust that the universe is just trying to send me the highest and best for my good.
Yes.
Yeah. All
This
right.
is
So
good. Thank
yeah,
you.
you seem like you went into a space. Are you okay?
Me, no, this was good.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, no. I'm in a
Oh,
space, okay. It's a good space.
yeah. Are you sleeping good in your new space?
Oh my goodness. I am so happy. I am so happy. I'm beyond grateful. Like, I'm satisfied. I'm excited. And yeah, no, I'm sleeping very, very well. And I'm not even in my best spot in it, you know?
Uh,
And yet it's already a hell yes inside of me. Like, yeah, I'm sleeping very, very, very well. I pop up, I get to the gym. It is just it's just different. The energy is energy. And I'm very alive because what I was doubting, part of my heritage, what I was doubting was my ability to feel what I felt, downplaying my experience, that feeling, the heaviness and the whatever, this the talk about ghost that I was feeling for the last year and a half. And um and just something inside of me just was like, I know that if I shift, something is magical is going to happen. And so I've just been in this place as I was preparing for this, and then now that I'm doing it, it just feels really magical. It feels so abundant.
oh,
that's
good.
that's how I feel. So yeah, I'm sleeping well, and I'm so grateful, and I don't ever want this experience to end. Like, that's my prayer every morning, every night. I want to stay vibing right here forever or greater. But I just really like, yeah, this is all good, and shit is falling apart behind the scene, and I feel amazing. But it's all good. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yes,
happy.
yes. Yes, let's stand in the yes. Okay.
Yes, yes,
So yeah, it's time for us to get off of here.
yes.
I
Happy
am
Friday.
yes, I
Be
am so
safe, everyone.
appreciative of everybody spending their Friday morning with us. It was so interesting because Ruth, yesterday when Ruth contacted me about contacting you, I was telling her, I said, well, we started out, I said, we felt the same kind of heaviness too in the morning. I said, so if you don't listen to anything else, listen to our prayer that we did,
Yeah.
because we're praying for the Ukraine and the Ukrainian people, and we are praying for the better angels to prevail in Russia. And
Yes.
some of the stuff that is coming out is that the people of Russia are in the streets protesting this. So it is not as if all of Russia is behind what it is that that man is doing. And so, I am in that space of support for peace all
Peace
over.
and love. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And my challenge to myself and to the planet, or as I got the download collective, is that if we be intentional about our resonation, like how do I resonate? What am I resonating out here? If I'm responsible for my love energy, it's just me, that would be 8 billion people sending forth an energy of love and appreciation and acceptance. That's the work to do.
Yeah.
Getting juiced up in that space of that unconditional, open, that space where we giving it away. And I just believe that's where the magic is, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. So and whatever, because of course everybody comes to this from their own perspective and their own
Yeah.
and one of the things that I know is that a lot of people see a frightening, vengeful world, and they
Right.
are thinking that there is some efforting or something that they must put into it. But wonder if we just thought to ourselves that a God of love doesn't create the narrative that we have put out there. And so de-escalating stuff is really, I think, important for us to really step back and say, wow, I'm seeing, I mean, this is like my Course in Miracles stuff that's coming out, people see a vengeful world, and it is not. That sometimes what we have to do is to question even the ideas that we've been given.
Yes.
And how to back up from that.
Yes.
God, help us see the way you see, right?
Yeah. Well, like that Viktor Frankl's book. I can't think of the name of it, but it's that concept that there is a much better tomorrow, and holding fast to that expectation. This person survived the Nazi concentration camp.
It's as a man sees.
As a man, yeah, something.
Or as he thinketh, or as a man sees. It's
Something.
Yeah. But as you are,
Yeah.
Your world shall be. And so, I'm just sitting in this, in this space of, let me keep projecting this energy, because we are powerful, and we do
are.
the ability to shift the energy on the planet. And so if we just sit in that, if we just sit in that space and say, why not? Why not love? Why not? Because that is the truth of our being. Why not? Why not? So it's good. Okay, so
have an amazing weekend.
Yes, Stephanie, I will see you on Monday, y'all. I will be here tomorrow as usual. And I am just, plum pleasing, amazing weekend for each and every one of us.
I'm out of here.
All right, how's Sarah before you go?
She's okay. I'm about to follow up. I don't know if she's going to be re-entered into the hospital today. So I'll find out in a little while.
Love and blessings.
Love and blessings. And yeah, for my dad too, because he's still there. They haven't found any Don't know where it's coming from yet. So still happening. So
Okay. Well,
finding
yeah.
getting some I think he's gonna have another procedure this morning to try to go in and find out where the hemorrhage is coming from. It's not as bad, so wherever it is, it's not as intense as when he went in. So, but they need to know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, this is one of those things of active imagination, guided imagery. Go in your body to find his body,
Oh,
right?
that's a great idea. Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
imagine into that space. Yeah.
I
All
love
right.
ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
All
ma'am.
right.
Got
Blessings.
my assignment. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. I am out of here as well. I thank you for being here. I am just truly honored to just even entertain the kind of thoughts that we entertain. To me is an amazing blessing. So whether you get something out of this or not, I feel amazingly blessed and gifted to be sharing these ideas, these thoughts, whatever that may mean, whatever it may look like, however it comes across. What an amazing opportunity. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you a fabulous Friday, fabulous Friday. And God willing, the creek don't rise. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. I usually only sleep in on Sundays, but even when I sleep in, I'm up by the time I come on here. So I'm just wondering if I should try to, what I need to do is get my butt into bed earlier. but I'm thinking about trying to figure out how I could sleep in on a couple of days, because I'm not getting as much sleep as my body rightfully deserves. So pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me. All right, y'all. I'm out. And yeah, have an amazing, fabulous Friday. All right. And with that, I am gone. And let's see. Yeah, I'm gone. All right. See ya. Bye.